All right. Start of another Malarkey Hour. This is your host, Matt. And with me, as always, my co-host, John. How's it going, sir?
What's up?
All right. John getting ready there. Putting on his jacket. Putting on his headphones.
It's cold.
Getting himself...
The cold world.
Getting ready. Getting himself hyped up for another episode like I am. I'm always hyped up.
You can hear the enthusiasm in my voice.
Yeah. All right, sir. All right. So this week, we're going to start off with a little segment I like to call All-Time Favorite Movie. And because we're in the Halloween spirit,
Ernest Scared Stupid.
we're going to do Ernest Scared Stupid. One of the best Ernest movies ever made.
Mm-hmm. It really is.
Made in it was actually produced in 1993. It made over $900 million worldwide, John. That's a little unknown fact.
Do you really know that?
No, I'm just joking. No, we're not gonna do Ernest Scared Stupid. That's for another day, John. That's for another day. No, this week we're gonna do one of our all-time favorite movies, a little movie called Halloween.
Never seen it.
Never seen it. Ah, shit. Maybe I shouldn't have picked this movie then. Of course you have, John. Everybody's seen Halloween.
It's about the Rob Zombie one, right?
No, I'm talking about the original 1978 Halloween, directed by John Carpenter.
Mm-hmm.
It was written by John Carpenter and Deborah Hill. Starred Donald Pleasance, Jamie Lee Curtis, and a bunch of other unknown actors.
That's funny for some reason.
It actually it was released on October 25th, John, of 1978. It was a low budget film. At the time, it was actually the highest grossing film in terms of what it cost to what it made. It estimated cost was between $300,000 to $325,000, and it went off to make $70 million in the box office. So it was one of the most profitable films in history.
Yeah, they made it really cheap and made a lot of money.
And that's it. That's all I have to say.
All right.
All right.
We'll see. No, she's gonna.
Nah. So.
What happened? What happened?
I don't know. Okay. My enthusiasm.
We're having technical
difficulties.
Yeah.
That's all right. I think it's fine.
Jamie,
Jamie,
can you fix this?
My enthusiasm, Jamie, our sound engineer, Jamie,
Mm-hmm.
who we haven't seen him around. He hasn't come around. Our sound engineer.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him for a few weeks.
Yeah.
So let's get a little bit into the details.
He wants to get paid, and I said no.
Yeah, that's I think that's what happened. The little details, John.
Doing it for the experience.
For people who have never seen this movie, and if you've never seen this movie, I don't know why you clicked on a link titled Halloween, but that's your thing. So, movie opens in 1963 on Halloween night in a little town called Haddonfield, Illinois, and 6-year-old Michael Myers.
Is that a real town?
No, it's not real.
Okay.
6-year-old Michael Myers snaps his older sister Judith to death, and he is sent out to Smith's Grove's insane asylum. I don't know if it's insane asylum, but
Very poorly ran.
Very poorly ran, because 15 years later, Michael Myers escapes, and his psychiatrist, Dr. Samuel Loomis, goes after him, and he knows where he's going. He's going back to Haddonfield. You know what? It's one of those funny things, right? Like how does Loomis knows? Like, he doesn't know because Michael doesn't talk. He said he hasn't talked in the 15 years he's been there. So how the fuck does Dr. Loomis knows that Michael
he's like, I know where he's going.
It's like instinctual. So Michael does go back to Haddonfield. Dr. Loomis gets that guess correct, and he starts stalking some high school students.
I mean, I've done that.
And one of them being Laurie Strode.
We've been there.
Laurie Strode, played by Jamie Lee Curtis, and her two best friends. the sluts known as Annie Brackett and Linda Van der Clock. They are, right? Like, they're just having promiscuous teenage sex, John. Like, they're drinking, doing the pot.
They're pretty hoary.
And Laurie Strode's at home studying away, making sure she's getting straight A's and not doing any of that. Although she does smoke pot, John. She's bad influence, her friends.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
You know what? It wasn't legal back then anywhere.
Yeah. So
Yeesh.
what she did is she broke the law, John. That's what she did.
Yeah.
During
That's
the
why-
day, too.
That's why
Michael Myers goes after her.
I say you shouldn't let your kids watch the movie.
Is that the reason?
That's the only reason.
Because Laurie
Yeah.
succumbs to the pot.
She is seduced by the evilness that is marijuana.
Yeah. So maybe she needs to.
That's actually what the movie's really about.
The horrors of the pot.
Mm-hmm. I think that's like the message.
You think that's the message?
I think that's what the movie's really trying to say.
It's trying to say that.
Yeah, if you smoke pot, someone's gonna try to kill you forever.
So.
Or you're gonna think that.
No, so regardless of what the movie's about, Michael Myers stalks these three young ladies on Halloween night, and he kills all of
ladies
out of Laurie's friends and
whores
and their boyfriends and a dog. He kills a dog on that night, John.
Yeah.
So he kills both her friends and one of the boyfriends of the friends. He kills a doggy.
By the way, I'm
in the
not just
process.
calling them whores because they're whores because they just in the movie they're whores. They're very hoary.
And so is, by the way, the men that they're having sex with. Actually, only one of them is because the other one doesn't have sex. The Annie, the one in
But isn't she
or Linda. I'm sorry, in Linda.
She's
Linda?
trying, isn't she?
She's trying hard, but she doesn't get to, John.
She's walking around in her panties.
That is a weird. Yeah, we were watching it the other day together, and she does just walk out of the house in her panties. Like, I mean, she's wearing a shirt.
I mean, okay.
I guess it's like
if
wearing
that was
really
your
short.
if that was your daughter,
I would not let her walk out.
You're like, she's like, bye. I'm like, you're in your panties. Like, come on.
Granted, her pants were in the wash, so. What did she spill on it? Like,
I don't know.
wine or popcorn?
I don't know. She's a high school teenager. She's probably booze.
I forgot what she spilled on it.
I don't remember.
Yeah, she's on the phone, right? She spilled something on her. She spilled something on her shirt that requires washing, so she takes off all her clothes.
Come.
It requires her to wash her clothes, and I'm gonna have to put like a tag on this video. Not appropriate for maybe it is appropriate for kids because they need to hear that first part that kids pot is bad because if you do pot, a mass psychopath's gonna come after you, and that's the lesson that you want to take away.
They just feel pot and cum.
So we see Michael kill Laurie's friends over the course of Halloween night, and he gets
It's so casual.
go ahead.
So he kills her friends.
And Dr. Loomis puts like six bullets into him, right? Like he unloads his gun.
Well, don't ruin the movie, Matt.
Like he unloads his 6 revolver into Michael Myers' chest.
He hits him in the face too, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, he does shoot him in the face, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like first, Laurie like just stabs him with a knitting needle.
I was gonna say like the world's biggest, oldest knitting needle. And like,
in the neck.
Yeah,
in the neck.
And he just falls.
He
like,
falls
in a
down.
weird way.
Yeah, in a weird way, and then she stabs him with a hanger in the eye.
Dude, she's like so good with like the dumbest, weirdest shit.
Yeah. And then Dr. Loomis comes stumbling up the stairs. I'm surprised he doesn't shoot himself.
He's like my psychiatrist who carries a gun too.
He carries the biggest 6 revolver I've ever seen. Like he's carrying like Dirty Harry's gun, right?
Yeah.
like just unloads his whole 6 bullets into Michael Myers, and he falls on the ground. And then at the end, he's not there anymore, and he's everywhere, John. Everywhere.
You gotta pay for it if you hum the song.
You do, so please, we don't want to blow the whole yearly budget on that little the little tune, John.
Is that true?
What?
If I just were to go dun 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 dun. But I got it wrong, but I'm saying if I were to do it.
If you were to do it, we would have to pay for it.
A good thing I'm bad at it, and they would never be able to prove it.
Yeah, they would have to track it down. They would have to have like their
It goes exactly like that.
So the movie ends with Michael Myers everywhere. That is a cool ending shot, right? He shows everywhere he's been, but he's not there anymore. But that's the fear, right? He's everywhere.
Right. No, I guess so. Yeah.
So let's rewind back.
I was gonna say, now that we've ruined the fucking movie,
let's rewind back and talk a little bit more. So, did you know, John, that the screenplay took 10 days to write?
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
So John Carpenter made
I would have done it in 8. Cocky.
Hey, did you hear? For the sequel, John Carpenter wrote that over a few nights drunk. He drank a couple, 6-pack of Coors Light, and I think he said he wrote it over one night or something like that. But I think it took him a few nights. But yeah,
that's whatever.
So,
Aaron Sorkin wrote The West Wing.
No, so John Carpenter in 1976 made this movie called Assault on Precinct 13. Have you ever seen that one?
What the original?
Yeah.
No, I never saw the original.
Yeah, so it's pretty good if you ever want to see a good 70s action
I hear
movie.
it's good.
So after he made that, there's two producers. Actually, one producer and one financier, essentially one rich guy. So there's a producer named Erwin Yablans and a financier named Mustafa Akkad, who's been the guy who's pretty much bankrolled most of the Halloween movies. They saw the movie at a film festival, the movie was on Precinct 13, and they talked to Carpenter because they wanted him to direct a film about a psychotic killer that stalked babysitters.
Okay.
So
we've all been there.
And in an interview, the film producer Yablans, he said, I was thinking what would make sense in the horror genre, and what I wanted to do was make a picture that had the same impact as The Exorcist. So Carpenter agreed to film.
It's quite ambitious.
He agreed to direct the film if he would have full creative control, and he was paid $10,000 for his work, and that included writing, directing, and scoring the film. So he's the one who came up with that very iconic.
You're talking about Carpenter?
John Carpenter.
Did he did make more after that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So him and his then girlfriend Deborah Hill, they wrote a draft of the story. Do you know what Halloween was originally titled?
No idea.
It was originally titled The Babysitter Murders.
That's cool.
So,
but there wasn't enough of them to do that.
Yeah. So Yablans, the film producer, suggested changing the setting of the movie to Halloween night and naming it Halloween instead.
Okay.
So Carpenter agreed. And actually, he was surprised because he thought there must have been a movie named Halloween before then. And there wasn't.
Okay.
So he said, well, the basic concept, Halloween night, as Carpenter said, Halloween night. It was never been the theme in a film. My idea was to do an old haunted house film.
Right.
And you know what? On researching this film, as something I had never.
They were boyfriend and girlfriend. Deborah Hill.
Yeah, Deborah Hill. Yeah.
Okay.
During this time, they've broken up a little bit after that. But during this time, they had been dating.
She left him for Michael Myers.
But you know, an interesting thing happened. An interesting thing I found out. I've never heard about this. While I was researching for this podcast, John, and I've thought I've read pretty much everything there is to, out there about Halloween.
Yeah, because that's normal.
What?
What you just said?
What?
I think I've read everything there is about Halloween.
What do you mean?
Just
Why is
saying.
that?
Just
Are you
saying.
trying to say it's not normal, John?
Nah. Just kidding. Man. I just read about Arbor Day. Ask me anything about Arbor Day.
Arbor Day?
Anything. Ask me anything.
Okay, when is Arbor Day, John?
I don't know. I read it. Read everything there is. I don't remember anything.
Oh, you just don't remember anything.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I think I said I knew it, but now I'm gonna say I read it.
Okay.
Ask me something else.
About Arbor Day?
Yeah.
Okay, who came up with the idea of Arbor Day?
I have no idea.
What do we celebrate on Arbor Day? Do you know?
No. See? Nailed it. So that's it's a good movie, though. It is a good movie. It's a very, 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 very good movie. Even though we talked about how bad the acting is.
Also, let's get into that, right? So, obviously, John Carpenter, he was doing a movie about babysitters, right? What's that funny?
It's just, I don't know.
Well, you find the concept of babysitters funny, John?
My mind's already going to, like, Pornhub. I know this was like 1978.
When Pornhub was thriving.
And Pornhub was just barely starting.
Just thriving.
Yeah.
Thriving.
It was all farmland.
Thriving industry. No, so he obviously hired a bunch of young kids because you need them all to be teenagers.
Unpaid?
Unpaid. No, he paid all of them. Why would he have paid all of them?
Nah, just they don't. They're just saying, there's a minimum, right? You got to pay people, like for movies.
If they're part of SAG, which is the Screen Actors Guild, which is the union that Hollywood follows.
What if they're all first time?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
So
if you're filming a union film, which if you're working out of Hollywood, Hollywood studio, and you're working with these unions, you have to pay them. Yeah. Doesn't matter.
I thought they were just gonna do like the Nike model.
What do you mean?
The way they pay their employees.
Well, I mean, it's different when you're in a different country.
Yeah.
No, so where I was going with that, John, is he has a bunch of young actors, and yeah, I mean it's a small budget, so he's not gonna be able to get the best actors, so the acting's gonna suffer a little bit. And even to be fair, the dialogue isn't the best, but it works for this movie, right?
Yeah,
like it completely works. Like it's even if you recognize. Like, in reality, the only real classical actor, the one who really had training, you can tell, is Donald Pleasance in the whole movie. The only actor in the whole movie that you can say, okay, this guy's an actor, you know.
Right.
Even though he had ridiculous lines, his readings were really interesting.
Ridiculous character.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, no, he's essential to the movie.
Okay, so going back to the actors, do you know who was the highest paid actor on the film?
Maybe him.
So Donald Pleasance was the highest paid. Do you know how much? Try to guess how much he got paid. Remember, this is a $300,000 to $325,000 budget.
20,000.
He got paid $20,000.
Really?
Yeah.
I swear to God, I did not look that up.
Jamie Lee Curtis, how much do you think she got?
5,000.
She earned $8,000. And Nick Castle, do you know who Nick Castle is?
No.
He's the guy who plays Michael Myers. He's the one in like the body. How much do you think he got paid?
5,000.
He got paid $25 a day.
Hey, but how many days? Divide that by 5,000.
Well, you know what? To be fair, he didn't really have to. He didn't have to really memorize any lines.
Yeah. By any, you mean zero?
0 lines. Although he does have to go when he got shot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean that must have
And
kept him up days, John.
They show his face.
Oh yeah, they show his face. That was him.
Yeah, it was right.
Yeah. Did you know he came back to play Michael Myers again in the new Halloween?
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, he came back.
How old is he?
In his 60s, probably 60s, 70s.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard that, and it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
They should have paid him more than $26 a day. You gotta account for inflation.
Well, you know, it's crazy, right? So Donald Pleasence got 20,000. Carpenter only got 10,000, and he directed, wrote, and did the score.
Yeah.
But granted, Donald Pleasence had been in Hollywood, you know, a lot longer. So I guess that's what he got.
Right. He's
so-
such a bad psychiatrist.
So did you know the role of Dr. Loomis was originally intended for Peter Cushing? Do you know who Peter Cushing is?
No.
He
Maybe I
played
saw him.
he played Grand Moff Tarkin in Star Wars. He's the general.
Oh.
Remember they
I know who he is. Yeah. I got him.
Yeah. So his agent rejected the offer.
Didn't he get strangled? Like with the thing, like with the invisible
Force.
the invisible strangle
The
by
Force.
Darth Vader.
So Cushing's agent, he rejected the offer due to it being too low. The salary was way too low. So Christopher Lee, do you know who Christopher Lee is?
No. But maybe if I saw him again.
He was known for horror movies, and he was in the Lord of the Rings movies. He was approached for the role. He turned it down too.
Okay.
And Christopher Lee said later on that he would tell Carpenter and Hill that declining that role was the biggest mistake he made during his career. So after being turned down,
this was to play the
Dr. Loomis. Yeah, Dr. Loomis.
Okay.
So after being rejected by both these actors, the producer suggested Pleasence, who agreed. Pleasence agreed to star because his daughter Lucy, a guitarist, had enjoyed Assault on Precinct 13 because of Carpenter's score.
Oh.
So
Cool.
So in casting Jamie Lee Curtis, Carpenter admits that Jamie Lee wasn't the first choice for Laurie. He said that he had no idea who she was. So when Jamie Lee Curtis made this film, she was 19 years old, and it was in a TV show at the time. But Carpenter didn't watch TV, so he had no idea who she was.
What TV show?
She was, I don't know.
Something that probably nobody watched ever.
Yeah. But as you know, John, you probably know this. Jamie Lee Curtis comes from some acting royalty. She is the daughter of, do you know?
No.
Janet Leigh, who was the star of Psycho.
Oh.
And Tony Curtis, the actor Tony Curtis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know the name Tony Curtis.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
And everybody knows the chick from Psycho, like even if you don't know her name.
Yeah, Janet Leigh. So she's the daughter of Janet Leigh and Tony Curtis.
Cool.
Hence Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see that connection, Joe?
Yeah.
So
like, they're like the Baldwins and what are the other ones?
The Baldwins, the great Baldwin family acting legacy.
Yeah. Billy's my favorite.
So Deborah Hill says once they learned that Jamie Lee was the daughter of Psycho actress Janet Leigh, she said, "I knew casting Jamie Lee would be great publicity for the film because her mother was in Psycho." So Curtis was cast in the part, though she initially had reservations that she felt she identified more
reservations with. Where?
She felt that she identified more.
They messed up my reservations so
she
many
felt
times.
She identified more with
I'm just going to be so obnoxious right now.
She felt she identified more with the other female characters. She said, "I was very much a smart aleck and was a cheerleader in high school. So I felt very concerned that I was being considered for the quiet, repressed young woman when in fact I was very much like the other two girls." So she was saying she was a whore, John. That's what she's trying to say.
I'm a whore.
I'm
a whore. Oh my.
So
trying to sell herself. I'm saying sell herself on the part. Oh man.
Hey, so a fun little trivia, John. You know PJ Soles, who played Linda, one of her friends, the one that has sex with her boyfriend in the film, the one who's smoking cigarette,
the blonde.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you know that when she was making this film, she was married to? You want to guess what actor?
Donald Sutherland.
Donald Sutherland. She was. No, I'm just joking.
Oh, I was like, dude, I'm just guessing now.
Nah. She actually at the time she was married to actor Dennis Quaid.
That's funny.
And
That's not that far off.
and he was considered for the role of Bob Sims, Linda's character's boyfriend in the film. But he was unable to perform the role due to prior work commitments.
Was she married to Dennis Quaid or Randy Quaid?
Dennis Quaid.
Okay.
No, not Randy Quaid. So as I said earlier, Nick Cassos, he played Michael Myers. He had become friends with Carpenter while they attended USC together. So did you know that Nick Castle went on to actually become a director himself?
No.
So Michael Myers himself, he went on to direct films with the likes of The Last Starfighter, The Boy Who Can Fly, Dennis the Menace, and Major Payne.
Those are all amazing movies.
Amazing movies. He went on to become an amazing director.
Yeah. Probably trips over his Oscars every morning.
So let's talk about one of the things that is iconic about the movie. What do you think is the most iconic thing? What would you consider the most iconic thing? And we'll talk about it.
The music.
Okay, so that is one, and you're right. I would consider that one as some iconic.
Let's play it.
So for all you musical nerds, we're going to talk a little bit about the score. So, obviously...
The movie?
What do you mean?
Is there a movie called The Score?
No. The score of this film.
There's not a movie
lowercase score.
There's not a movie called The Score?
There is a movie called Score, but
let's talk about that for about 20 minutes.
No. So obviously the soundtrack, I mean the budget wasn't there for a big symphonic soundtrack, right? Where you go into a studio, you have a full, symphony, and you have horns and trumpets and violins and
like the movie Whiplash.
Like the movie Whiplash. You don't have a Whiplash score.
Right.
So, as I mentioned earlier, Carpenter was paid $10,000 to direct, write, and score this film. And him having a little bit of musical background, he was willing to do this. So, for all you music nerds or people who are into music,
same thing.
The film score, John. I don't know if you know much about music. It consists of a piano melody played in a 10/8 or complex 5/4 time signature composed and performed by director John Carpenter himself.
Of course, I knew all that.
So he said that the music was actually inspired by Dario Argento's Suspiria and William Friedkin's The Exorcist.
Why do I know that first name? Who's that?
Dario Argento. He is one of the most famous horror directors.
He doesn't have family, right?
He has a daughter named Asia Argento.
Did she get in trouble?
She is recently got.
She get in trouble, right?
For sexual.
Yeah, that's why I know that last name.
Yeah. Carpenter took 3 days to compose the entire score for the film. So
I would have done it too.
So John would have probably cut the time of this movie in half, and he's saying the budget would have been like $5.
I would have haggled down $24 a day.
So in addition to the film's critical and commercial success, Carpenter's
no lunch breaks.
Carpenter's self-composed Halloween theme, John, became one of the most recognizable parts of the film.
Right.
I'm gonna quote James Berardinelli, a film critic. He calls the score relatively simple.
He's so well known.
Relatively simple. He is well known. Actually, well known. Relatively simple.
Learn his name.
And unsophisticated. I know his name. I just can't pronounce it, John. It's a difference. But admits that Halloween's music is one of his strongest assets. Carpenter stated in an interview, "I can play just about any keyboard, but I can't read or write a note."
It's okay. How different are keyboards? I'm being serious.
I don't know. I'm not a music guy.
I mean, like most keyboards look like keyboards to me. I know there are fancy ones where there's like different like levels and stuff, but I'm sure you can still play it.
Yeah.
Maybe not as well, or maybe you can't play it like to its potential.
Maybe. I don't know. Just potential.
Like,
I don't know.
But it'd be funny if it was just like ding, bing, bing. And it's like, but you couldn't play it on the other one.
I don't know. I really don't know the difference.
I don't know either.
But pretty much the whole score was done by Carpenter, except for one song. There is a song in the movie, "Don't Fear the Reaper" by Blue Oyster Cult.
Did they use it?
They use it during when Laurie and her friend are driving the car and they're smoking pot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Not for children.
So John, other than the musical score, what's the other most iconic part or thing about Halloween?
The mask.
The mask, yes.
Did you ever have one?
Yes. No, I've never bought a mask, Halloween mask.
I had one.
You had one?
Oh,
You were
yeah.
Michael Myers?
I did. Yeah, I did it a couple times when I
Mhm.
was like a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you work better because you're tall, so you can play Michael Myers.
Yeah.
I'm short.
It's just easy. Like you just wear black, and then I get the
just wear overall like a
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a mechanic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you get like, I had the fake knife. You want to get a little crazy? Just go to the kitchen.
It really is a simple costume, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really almost really lazy costume.
And it's like the masks, like they always look good because it's so simple.
yeah, it's
So it
white,
look- yeah,
right?
yeah.
So let's talk about the mask. So obviously, there wasn't that much, like I mentioned when we were talking about the score. There wasn't much of a budget, John.
Right.
I mean, Carpenter only received $10,000 for writing, directing, and scoring this film. So he's not gonna,
Right.
He's like, you want me to
So
come
you
up with a
want-
wardrobe too?
You want me to play Michael Myers?
So obviously it's very low budget. So wardrobe and props, they were often crafted from items that were just there, right? Or they can purchase them pretty cheap.
Right.
So Carpenter, he hired this guy named Tom Lee Wallace. He was going to be the production designer, art director, location scout, and co-editor of the film. So Wallace created the trademark mask worn by Michael Myers. So what he did is he took, you probably already know this, he took a Captain Kirk mask. He purchased it for $1.98 from a costume shop on Hollywood Boulevard.
I would have got it cheaper.
How much do you think you got in the mask for?
$1.49.
49. So Carpenter recalled how Wallace, what he did is he took the mask, he widened the eye holes. So the eye holes were a lot smaller. So he cut them out, made them a little bigger.
I would have made him bigger.
Even wider than him. And he spray painted the flesh a bluish white. What would you have done different from that?
Bluer. And wider.
So apparently in the script, it said that Michael Myers' mask had the pale features of a human face.
Okay.
And it truly was spooky looking, John.
I would have
It's
made
one of the most-
paler. I'll stop eventually.
So it is pretty iconic, right? It's one of those things. It you know what I think Carpenter's talked about this, and a lot of people have. It does you do project what you want on it, right? Because there's nothing there.
What do you mean?
Like there's no emotion. Obviously, you don't see the guy's face. There's
Right.
not really anything to the mask.
Right.
It's white.
Until that part of the movie where,
He takes
you
it.
see his face.
You get to see his face, but that's about it, right?
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
But you get to project whatever emotion you want. It's an emotionless face, right?
Yeah.
But you can project whatever you want on it.
Yeah.
Now that's what makes it work. The film isn't dictating what it wants the audience to feel or see.
Do you think he's like, because he just walks like kind of briskly and sometimes slowly.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he's like in terrible like cardio shape, or do you think that's
You
just
know what?
part of
You know what I think? I think what happened is they don't talk about it in the film is while he was there he joined a like they did like an intramural like football team while he was in the psych ward,
yeah.
and he tore up his knee, and like he had to have like knee knee reconstruction surgery, and it's never been the same since.
Is that what they pay for over there?
Yeah.
Back in the 70s.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they had to do a whole. They sculpted out his knee. They scraped off all the the scar. Like it was just bad, John.
Was that thing like Kobe had done?
Yeah, and I think they sent him off to Germany. They did the whole blood thing in Germany. They brought him back.
Been in a centrifuge.
So it's just his knee just hasn't been the same.
Stem cells.
Yeah, and that's why they had to change the rules of their football games.
Right.
That's like
Why do you think they can't kill him?
yeah.
Stem cells.
So Curtis's wardrobe. Going back to the
hormone replacement therapy.
so it was made really cheaply, John. They even purchased all of Jamie Lee Curtis's wardrobe at JCPenney for like $100.
Yeah.
So very cheap,
Yeah. Okay.
but very effective.
I would have got it for like 50.
So what is your lasting impression about Halloween, John? Like, what do you love about it?
It's pretty damn good. It's still creepy.
Mm-hmm. It still works, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Even though it is funny how you're right. Like the acting is not good, but it is like it's creepy. Like there's something creepy about it. It's just like.
Well, you forget, right? If you really think, I think because you've seen it so many times, you already know the story. But if you say the story out loud, it's creepy. There's these 3 young girls, and they're being stalked by this psychopath that they have no idea who he is.
Right.
Like they have no idea who he is. You know, he escaped. That was another genius part, right? There's no news report about this psychopath out there.
Right, but there is like a thing in the town where they're like, there's that's the Michael Myers house. Like it's like a thing.
It's a thing, but they have no idea he's out there.
I guess like it's like kind of like an urban legend thing.
Yeah. But it's been so long since it happened. They have no idea it's gonna something's gonna happen.
Well,
tonight.
it's not really it is an urban legend, but it's not because there's like the cop was like, oh, I was there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, I remember when this happened. Am I thinking of the same thing?
No, I mean everybody remembers that when it happened.
Yeah, like the old people know.
Yeah.
I'm saying
but it happened so long ago that the kids don't remember it. I mean, the kids were babies when it happened, you know? And then even the little kids, like Tommy, the kid that she's babysitting.
Babies, they probably weren't born.
They weren't born. That's what I was going to say. Like, the teenagers were probably babies, but the kids weren't even born yet. It happened 15 years prior.
I was going to say, what was the original year?
It's like 15 years before.
Okay. So, they were like 2, 3.
Goes back to that Dr. Loomis line. It's like, I spent the first 7 years trying to get through to him, and the next 8 trying to keep him locked up.
But what did he see in his eyes, man?
Evil. That was his diagnosis, right?
Yeah. Professional medical diagnosis. Evil.
So let's. You know what? You know what am I?
I think it's just like that's easy for like disability. It's like what is it? Evil. It's like, yeah, it's like evil, and then he's got the knee stuff too, right? I guess you probably gotta file an appeal.
For me, one of my favorite parts of the movie is the character Dr. Loomis. He's so ridiculous. He has probably some of the best lines in the movie. Let me read one.
I promise you, my psychiatrist might be worse.
You think so? He has probably one of the worst psychiatrists, right? In movie history.
I hope he's not listening.
In movie history, Dr. Loomis.
Yeah.
So this is one of my favorite lines. This is him talking about Michael Myers. I met him 15 years ago. I was told there was nothing left. No reason, no conscience, no understanding, even the most rudimentary sense of life or death, good or evil, right or wrong. I met the 6-year-old child with his blank, pale, emotionless face and the blackest eyes. The devil's eyes. I spent 8 years trying to reach him and then another 7 trying to keep him locked up because I realized what was living behind the boy's eyes were purely and simply evil.
And then the girl behind the counter was like, "Sir, are you going to order something or not?"
I love Dr. Loomis. He is the most...
Oh, man.
Hey, another thing came up. I actually heard we were watching the other night. I said, "Where's Dr. Loomis and that nurse coming from?" Like they went to go have a drink, right?
I think they're fucking.
You think they're having sex? No, I really think they can't because you asked me this question. They had like a pack of little matches on the dashboard.
Red matches.
Yeah, from like a bar scene, right? Mm-hmm. And then you see those matches again on that truck where Michael killed that guy for that like whatever overall whatever thing that he's wearing, and and Dr. Loomis finds those matches.
He kills for such frivolous reasons.
Michael Myers.
Huh. overalls.
What are they? Whatever. It's like mechanic, like a mechanic's whatever onesie.
Oh, never mind then.
Oh, it's a mechanic's onesie.
Never mind.
What do you call
then.
those? It's a mechanic's onesie, right?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Not frivolous at all. Worth it.
So that's Halloween, John. No, you know what? You know what I love about it?
What's that?
Obviously, it still works. It's still scary. It doesn't. It's not overly complicated. The if you really look at the plot,
Yeah.
it really, the only thing you can say, like, maybe it's a little too much. And I think I told you this the other day, is if I were to remake it, I would cut off that first scene. You don't need to know him murdering.
I think it's kind of creepy.
It is creepy, but like it's not needed. But it's not a bad scene. Like it works. But like
Michael, it's his sister.
Yeah, that's just
That's her big line.
Judith Myers' big line before she dies.
Yeah, it took like 90 cuts.
She just couldn't get it right. She's like,
Mikey. Remember the Halloween remake with the
Mikey,
Danny Trejo.
Danny Trejo, Mikey.
No, Mikey.
Oh, Mikey, he killed again, Mikey. That's not good. They're gonna blame me.
Oh man.
Or was it one of your favorite lines, John? Jamie Lee Curtis's lines.
The keys.
You know what? It's
The
funny.
keys.
You told me this. Like, you as a kid would repeat this, and actually, I would always think about it too when I was looking for my keys. I always think about Jamie Lee Curtis looking for her keys.
That's funny.
The keys.
That's funny.
Yeah.
It's
It's a movie that
you know what's interesting too is that when you think of Halloween, you think, oh, it's Michael Myers trying to kill Jamie Lee Curtis.
Mm-hmm.
But then you watch the movie, you're like, he's only trying to kill her for like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
In the whole movie, it's like 15 minutes.
He's stalking her throughout the whole movie.
No, but I'm saying
though.
as far as like when she's actually first like attacked by him,
Mm-hmm.
it's like 15.
It's 15 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like a big slasher movie.
No, and you know what's makes it creepy is the majority of the films set during the day.
Yeah.
So I mean that's what Carpenter does so well. He there's so many things going on in the foreground and background. Like he's always there. Like there's very few frames in the film where Michael Myers doesn't exist.
And I think
that's what's creepy
about it. I
about
think we talked about like he's crazy, but he's like, oh, he's still kind of.
He's not stupid. He's not stupid. Yeah, he's not stupid.
He
that's
sets
scary.
up all these weird traps.
Yeah. You know what? That's one of the things we're noticing.
Little scenarios where it's like, oh, he locked the door. He opened the window before.
Yeah. He was like planning this ahead. That makes it creepier.
Yeah, and then he was like, hangers, my only weakness. Bullets don't faze me.
Like he puts a rake up against the door after Lori comes into the house where her friends are dead. Like he does that. Like he does it after she gets in. Like so he's following her and he's setting up the trap.
Right.
And he sets up all those bodies so elaborately.
I mean that's how I would do it.
It's funny how he sets up like he's such an elaborate like.
It is fun. It is funny. When she just finds all her friends. And
it's funny. Yeah. He plans ahead, right? He takes his sister's headstone.
Yeah.
You're right?
I mean, we've all been there.
But he's like, I'm going to use this later. I don't know when, but it's gonna come in handy later on.
I mean, I got my sister's headstone. She's fine. Got one. Just keep it.
So it almost makes it even creepier, right? Like, what's going through his head? Why is he planning this? Like, what is his thinking? He's gonna recreate his sister's the night his sister died. Something snapped in his head, right? The night he killed his sister as a little boy, and now he's trying to recreate that.
Right.
Like he was 7, 9 years old when it happened. Now he's in his 20s, and there's like something still there in his head, as he's like.
Somehow Dr. Loomis knows what it is.
You think he knows?
No, I mean, yeah, but no, how? I mean, apparently he does, but how?
I mean, he knew exactly that he was gonna come back to the.
He's just telling like the one cop in the town.
The guy's not listening to talk. He's like, yeah. But it's funny. The sheriff like goes along with him. Just the
Like
cop.
there's nothing else to do.
The cop doesn't call the hospital. You never see a scene where the cop like confirms like, is this guy a real doctor? He just takes his word. Yeah, okay, your ID.
You know,
Like for all he knows, Dr. Loomis is the killer.
You know, it's fun. Yeah, it's funny. What's funny is when he's just like calmly standing in the street, and the cop is like, "Hey," and he's like, "He's here." I'm like, "Oh, you weren't gonna try to call?" Or
Yeah,
like, I mean,
yeah.
I know like they didn't have cell phones back then, but it's like, "He's here." He's like over there, down the street, or he's like in the house or whatever.
Yeah.
Like go that way, but I'm like, dude, like you were just waiting, like just chilling, like hoping he would come by.
Yeah.
You weren't even trying to do anything until the cop got
Until
there.
the comes.
I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah. I forgot to tell you. It's weird.
Yeah, it's odd. Yeah. But I guess there's only so much you can do if he doesn't know where he is.
Yeah.
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 That makes it creepier too.
It's almost, I don't get it too off topic, but like in the new It movie,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not like we're ruining anything, but yes, the clown kills children.
Yes.
We know that, whether it's part 1 or 2, and like you just go along with the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I remember I go, at what point does the FBI get involved? I go, because there's just all these missing children.
Well, that's the thing. They don't know. That's
Huh?
the whole point. They don't know. Like people forget.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it's like, did they just show local cops?
It's magic, John. It's magic.
I'm like, they're just showing like local cops, like, weird.
But you know one of the lasting legacies that Halloween did do is it created a sort of formula for slasher films, right? And one of them being, and you know what? And Carpenter said he didn't do this intentionally, but one of them being is sex is bad in horror movies. If you have sex, you're gonna die. The only person that survives is Laurie Strode, who didn't have sex.
Well, they
And
were
the-
the
and the
first
little kids.
movies to do it.
Well, it started the legacy. So you see all these 80s slasher films sort of follow that same formula. It's like, oh, people who have sex are the ones who don't survive.
Yeah, and then
But Carpenter wasn't trying to do that on purpose. It's just
then they reinforce it in
like, and then Scream
Scream.
yeah, brings up the whole like the rules of horror movies.
which is a great movie.
Yeah. But Halloween started all this, actually. But it wasn't the first film to take the point of view of the killer. You ever seen a movie called Black Christmas?
I've heard of it.
So Black Christmas was directed by a man named Bob Clark.
No, what year was that?
Like a few years before Halloween.
Okay.
In the 70s. And it was actually directed by Bob Clark, who went on to direct. Do you know which movie he went on to direct?
Big Mama's House 2.
A Christmas Story.
Really?
Yeah.
So he stayed with the Christmas theme.
Yeah. Yeah, he actually did a bunch of horror movies in the 70s, and then he did and he's most known for A Christmas Story. Black Christmas wasn't a big hit, so, but he's most known for A Christmas Story. So
Nice.
interesting. So yeah, if you watch a Black Christmas, you'll see the point of view that he sort of took that from him. So a little interesting.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah.
You're gonna shoot your eye out.
Yeah.
Or is it you'll shoot your eye out?
You shoot your eye out.
Yeah.
All right. So John,
What
Halloween, great. Watch it every year.
Fantastic.
I watch it every Halloween. It is a tradition in my house. I
Yeah.
gather up all the kids. Scooch closer. Kids, let's watch Halloween. Bring out the popcorn.
What's creepy is that Matt doesn't have kids. That's the creepy part.
That's the creepy part.
Mhm.
Take out the movie candy. I go,
That's how he gets the kids.
Walgreens has a great deal. $4 for 4
Kids?
boxes of candy.
$4 for kids.
4 boxes of candy for $4, John. Great deal at Walgreens. Walgreens does not sponsor our show, nor do I work for Walgreens, but just gotta endorse that.
You remind me,
It's a great deal.
I have a prescription to pick up from Walgreens.
A great deal.
Not-
So I
that's not a joke.
I usually what I'll do is I'll go to Walgreens. I take John so he can go get his damn prescription. I go to the candy aisle. I pick out all the candies, all the movie candies.
Sorry, but
Some Reese's Pieces.
yeah, we're gonna have to call Dr. Loomis for reauthorization here.
Some Reese's Pieces, some Raisinets, gummy bears,
Yeah, that's all.
M&Ms,
That's all normal.
M&Ms.
All that behavior is normal.
Get some popcorn.
You put popcorn. You put the M&Ms in the popcorn.
Some people do. I don't.
No,
Yeah.
don't do it.
But I can see why people do it. Salty and sweet.
No.
So I bake the popcorn. Keep it separate. I keep it 10 feet away from the chocolate because John would freak out. And I pop in Halloween every Halloween. And that's tradition, John. Halloween. Great movie. Still works. Still scary.
No, it really, honestly,
Never grows old. I watched it like 3 times this
you
month.
know what though? I know I'm making fun of it a lot. It's a masterpiece.
Oh, it is a masterpiece. Yeah.
It's fantastic. It really is one of the best horror movies ever made.
Yes.
In fact, it's like it ages so well, and it's just watch it.
So we did Halloween this week. Great movie.
Mm-hmm.
I figure we ended this week's podcast, since we are doing a horror movie this week, on some horror movie trivia. You ready, John?
I'm probably not gonna do well, but go
No,
ahead.
I mean I might state some facts. I might ask you some questions. And there's no score to keep, John. This week you're off.
How is it trivia if you don't ask questions?
I guess. Well, you have trivia facts.
Is that a thing?
That's a thing, John.
Is
Okay,
that-
well, let me ask you a question.
What is the definition
Let
of
me
trivia?
let me ask you a question, John.
Mm-hmm.
What was the first horror film to be nominated for a Best Picture?
Ooh. I'm not gonna cheat at all. I'm just looking up the word trivia. In fact, you're true. You're right. You're right. Trivia is information data that are considered to be of little value.
Yeah.
Okay. First, shit. Can you give me like a year?
It was in the 70s.
Shit. Like Dracula?
No, it was The Exorcist.
Oh man, that makes more sense. Makes so much more sense.
John, did you ever watch?
Another great movie.
Yeah. Did you watch? Yeah, it is. It's one of the.
Ages so well.
You know, I would put it. It's hard for me, but I think 'cause I've seen it more times. I would put Halloween maybe slightly ahead of Exorcist. That's the best horror movie of all time, but it's a close race.
It's hard to argue.
Yeah.
I think I would switch them.
Yeah, but I think 'cause I've seen Halloween way more times than Exorcist.
I think I would switch them because I think Exorcist just like the acting's better.
Yeah, the acting is definitely better. Yeah, there's better actors, and
Yeah.
it's a bigger budget. You know?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just at the end of the day.
And then there's just some scenes that like you can't get out of your head,
Yeah.
like that are just like iconic and creepy.
So, John, have you ever seen a movie called Nosferatu?
Heard of it? No.
So Nosferatu is one. That was the first movie to ever feature a vampire, Count Orlok. Do you know why he's called Count Orlok?
No.
Because they couldn't get the rights to Bram Stoker's Dracula, so they had to call him Count Orlok. They couldn't call him Dracula. They were wanting to make a Dracula film, but they couldn't get the rights to it.
Nice.
So, did you know Max Schreck, who played Count Orlok, he was on screen for 9 minutes of the whole film, and he only blinked one time.
He should probably see a doctor.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah. Just some weird medical condition.
John, did you know?
No.
Do you know which American film was the first to feature a toilet? That was a horror movie.
This is such a stupid question. Just tell me.
Psycho.
Okay.
So before Psycho, there had never been an American film in which we saw a toilet on screen.
Is that when she's getting stabbed?
Well, there's other parts, but it's the first time we ever saw a toilet on screen. Plus,
Was it
first time,
the one with Vince Vaughn in it?
first one that we ever also heard a toilet being flushed. And Psycho came out in the 50s, so before then, that never happened before in an American film.
Was that because it was taboo or just?
It's just weird. It was just one of those weird things. Yeah, they just didn't feel like
That's weird.
John, did you know that Stephen?
No, I'm not gonna get any of these. Go ahead.
Did you know Stephen King wasn't a fan of The Shining?
Yes, I know. I actually did know that.
So in 1983, Stephen King told Playboy, "I admired Kubrick for a long time and had great expectations for the project.
I know he did not.
But I was deeply disappointed in the end result. Parts of the film are chilling, charged with a relentless claustrophobic terror, but others fell flat. And he also didn't like the casting of Jack Nicholson. He said, Jack Nicholson, though a fine actor, was all wrong for the part. His last big role had been in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and between that and the manic grin, the audience automatically identified him as a loony from the first scene. But the book is about Jack Torrance's gradual descent into madness through the malign influence of the Overlook. If the guy is nuts to begin with, then the entire tragedy of his downfall is wasted.
I disagree. Because I think it's a fantastic film.
I love Shining. Yeah, you're right.
It's too damn perfect. And you know what's funny about that movie? You already know this. Didn't they like switch the cars and like the color of the car?
Yeah, I think so.
It was like, okay, because it was either, what was he drive, a red Volkswagen or a yellow in the movie?
Oh, I can't remember if it was on the other.
Well, either way, he purposely took the color of the car that he wanted that was in the book, and he switched it, and that's when he put the other color of the car that wasn't in the book, and he just added a scene where it's like crushed on the side of the highway. It's for no reason other than to piss him off, is what I read. I don't know if that's true, but I mean, no, it's in the movie though.
Kubrick's known for it. Yeah.
Like just to
weird shit like
just
that,
to fuck like, with Stephen King, just to be like, hey, here's your Volkswagen from your book. Because that you wanted to use, we crushed it and put it in on the side of the road for her. Yeah, I think that's pretty fun. It's unnecessarily just, hey man, you like it?
So John, did you know in Jaws, the shark didn't appear until 1 hour and 21 minutes into the movie?
I know it's a while. I don't know it was that long. But
yeah, and that's obviously, I don't know if you heard the backstory. It was because the mechanical shark that they wanted to use barely worked during the filming.
We're gonna need a bigger boat.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that the scene or is that after that?
I think that was the first appearance when he pops up.
Richard Dreyfuss.
Yeah. So, John, do you remember the original King Kong starring Fay Wray?
It's one of those things where it's like you see it when you're young, but I don't really want to watch it again. So apparently, the director I don't consider it horror either.
It's a scary movie. The director Marion Cooper. He was trying to get Fay Wray to star in the movie King Kong, so he told her, "You're gonna have the tallest, darkest leading man in Hollywood." So Fay Wray, her thoughts. She's thinking, "Oh, who's?" She started thinking maybe it was Cary Grant. He was a tall, dark, handsome leading man in Hollywood. And when she arrived, Cooper pointed at the giant ape and said, "See, I told you, that's the tallest, darkest leading man in Hollywood."
Was she amused? Well, she did it anyway, right?
Yeah, she did it anyway. I mean, I don't think she regrets it. Let's see another one. Okay, John, do you know do you know who Ed Gein was?
Serial killer?
He was a serial killer. He was a serial killer back in the 50s, 60s. Do you know he went on to inspire a bunch of movies? Do you know 3 major horror movies that he actually inspired?
I do know at least one.
Okay, what's one of them?
Because it's not really him. What is it? Is it Hannibal Lecter? Or no?
So yes, one of the movies was Silence of the Lambs.
Okay. Just go ahead.
The other 2 were Psycho and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I was gonna say Texas Chainsaw.
Okay, so
in fact, you know what? I knew Texas Chainsaw because I was gonna say that's why they take the thing about putting the face on the face.
Mm-hmm.
I think like that was. I mean, I know because he would cut off people's faces, right?
Yes. So when police raided his house, among the items that were discovered, he was located in Wisconsin. So
Diet Mountain Dew. You're a psycho.
So some of the items discovered at his Plainsfield, Wisconsin farm were 4 noses, 9 masks made of human skin, numerous decapitated heads, lampshades and bowls made of skin, lips being used as a pull on a window shade, and a belt made from nipples. So Gein later admitted to only 2 murders.
You said lampshades and something?
Lampshades and bowls made of skin.
Now, do you mean lampshades and then
Bowls.
made of
Yeah.
bowls?
Bowls. Like you're eating your cereal.
Okay, so do you mean like regular lampshades and then
Just
bowls
regular.
made of skin?
Yeah.
Or do you mean like
No, there were lampshades.
lampshades made of skin and bowls made of skin?
Motherfucker, what, you don't understand sentence structure? Yes, lampshades and bowls made out of skin. You not understand
I was
sentence
like,
structure?
you know what? Just only crazy people have lampshades.
Yes,
I think it was the pacing. You're like lampshades and bowls made of skin.
What do you think? I emphasize lampshade too much?
I was like, lampshades? Holy shit. This guy's crazy.
Okay.
I know a guy with lampshades right now.
Do you?
Yeah.
You think he's a psychopath?
I don't know. We'll talk afterwards. I might have to make an anonymous phone call. He's got multiple lampshades.
That's what worries you?
Yeah. Lots and lots of lampshades.
Okay, so the last one, John. What was the name of the demon in The Exorcist?
That's a good question. Give me the first letter.
P.
Paul.
You're right.
Is it?
No.
I don't know.
Pazuzu.
You know what's funny?
Uh-huh.
It's like it's such a good movie, but now that's gonna bother me forever. Be like Pazuzu.
So it's a name taken from the king of the demons in Assyrian and Babylonian mythology.
It's like, Pikachu.
So that's it, John. That's trivia for you this week. That's. I hope you have a good Halloween. Do you know what you're gonna be dressed as for this Halloween?
Michael Myers.
You gonna be Michael Myers?
Nah.
Are you be Jack in the Box? You've had the Jack in the Box set.
No, it's too much of a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
No, dude, I think I'm done with masks.
Are you? It's cumbersome, right? Like, to be wearing them.
And I wear glasses most of the time.
Yeah.
So it's like, eh.
Yeah. It's a big old head, a big old Jack head.
And then everyone wants a picture.
Yeah, that's true.
One time I brought tacos.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Like real, like.
Yeah. Like, cause
you just bought a bunch of dollar tacos.
I already went through it, so I just bought a bunch of tacos.
And you're giving it to people?
Yeah.
Yeah. People were taking them.
Yeah.
They were eating them.
It was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they were willing. It was weird. People were willing to accept tacos from a stranger.
But it's like, it's like if Bill Cosby was just giving away tacos.
I know, that's what I'm saying. And were they eating them?
Yeah.
They're really, that's scary. That's a little creepy.
Yeah,
From both sides.
They were. I mean, I'm not doing. It was funny because I was.
No, it's funny.
I already got some for myself. I go, it'd be funny, like, and I was gonna give them to like mostly my friends.
Yeah. But people were like, hey, it's like, hey, you
I was like, I don't care. I was like, you want, like, they're so cheap that it's disgusting. It's gross how cheap they are.
Yeah.
I mean, Jack in the Box is a sponsor of ours, so mention Malarkey Hour when you go to Jack in the Box, and they'll give you the exact same price.
Right. So you're gonna be Michael Myers? Oh, you said no more masks.
No, no more. I don't think.
Masks.
No, last year I did a crayon, and
Okay.
all it was a Crayola shirt with a pointy head.
Mm-hmm.
That was easy because it's not uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. So you don't know what this year?
Nah, I don't know. Figure it out.
Yeah. Okay. So next week's episode, John will reveal his costume choice for Halloween.
I'm gonna wear it while we do the podcast,
Yeah.
so that way it's so much more exciting
Hey,
for
let's do
everyone
it.
to listen to.
Hey, let's do it next week. It is our episode right before Halloween this year. Me and John will be dressed up in our costumes
Yeah.
for next week's episode.
For all audio podcasts, you guys are gonna love it.
No, this is what we'll do. This is what we'll do, John.
Yeah, you can take pictures.
We'll take a picture and we'll put it on the fire.
Don't set the expectation too high because I might not do it.
John, I'm wearing my costume, so you better be wearing your costume next week.
Maybe.
Okay.
I just put on the stupid Jack in the Box head for 5 fucking minutes.
Why take a
And by
picture?
5, I mean 1.
John, this is for our podcast audience.
I don't care.
But you gotta wear the Jack in the Box at the whole episode then.
Yeah, you're over here shit.
Okay.
Like, that's how they like it.
Okay, with that, we leave you for this week. We will see you next week.
All right.
Bye bye.